Hello again, my fellow Jeti users, and in this video I thought we'd look at some of the interesting things you can do with the switch parameter in the Vario menu. It's something that I suspect a lot of us have pretty much ignored, but you can really do some interesting things with it, and very useful. Now, the idea came to me when last year I bought a little device from SM Modelbau in Germany called their Unisense E, and it's a combined electrical sensor, so volts, amps, milliamp hours, etc., with a Vario. And if you hook it up to a computer to set its options, one of the options you can set is that it automatically switches off the Vario if you've opened the throttle, which is great. When you've opened up the throttle to do the climb, the Vario shuts up. And as you get to top of the climb and close the throttle, the Vario noise comes back on, which means you can set a Vario volume and just leave it alone. It doesn't just beep away at you annoyingly whilst you're doing the power climb. Or if, like me, you've got the Vario on volume on, I have it on P5, so I can vary it up and down. You're not having to turn it down and then try and get it set back to the correct volume after the top of the climb. And I thought, well, there must be a way, surely, of getting the Jeti radio to replicate this, and there is. So if we go into Vario, this is what we're going to deal with, is switch, and we're going to look at quite a few interesting things you can do with it. Now, to help me today, I have got this tiny little device here, another SM Modelbau device called a micro Vario, and the reason I've got that is you can hook up a TEK, that's a TEK, airspeed nozzle to it. So not only does it give you airspeed, but it gives you the total energy compensation, hence TEK. And so this little device is going to give me three interesting things that I can use the Vario menu for. To give me standard Vario, total energy compensated Vario, and airspeed. And you were thinking, whoa, what do you mean airspeed with the Vario menu? Would you believe I have a video about it made quite a while ago, in which you use the Vario menu suitably set up for a particular speed that you want to achieve, and then it will give you the rising and falling tones if you go above or below that speed, which could be handy for landing this particular glider, which is very valuable. And I don't want to risk getting too slow and stalling it, but equally you don't want to come hurtling in too fast and floating off down the field trying to shed energy on something that's very slippery with a lot of momentum. Okay, so that's what we're going to use hooked up. Let's turn up the volume. You see it's working. Actual value, they jitter around 0. So that just proves it's going. So first things first, let's get it to shut up when we apply the throttle. So we come down to switch. I'll move P4. Okay, it's this type of screen that you want, not that one, not that one, it's this one. Bring the throttle just off the closed position. Press this button here to set that. Pull the throttle back. We want it switched on when the throttle's back and switched off when the throttle's forward. So press reverse there. There, it's on when the throttle's back, off when the throttle goes forward. Say OK. Our switch is now P4. It's on. It's enabled, so the Vario will run. Okay, if I push it forward, throttle goes off. All I want to do now is then come across here and disable it. And that's it. So throttle back, top of the climb, Vario comes on. At the bottom of your descent or whatever, or at launch, throttle goes forward, Vario's off. Let's prove it. I'll turn the volume up. So we're climbing from launch, or climbing away from having lost a lot of altitude. Top of climb, throttle back, Vario starts working. Need to power up and go up again, and it shuts up. It seems a ridiculously simple thing, but once you have that working, as I found with the SM Modelbau Unisense E, it's not something I want to do without again. It's a remarkably good value for such a simple thing. Okay, let's turn the volume off there. What else could you do? Well, for instance, with this micro Vario, since it gives me Vario or total energy compensated Vario, I could switch between them. So let's go back here, back to P4, clear that out, and I will now move a 2-position switch. If I enable that, then if the switch in that position, I could say, oh, I want it enabled in both positions. There we go. So there we have it. I could have the total energy Vario in that position and the standard Vario in that position. Quite why you'd want to toggle between them, I'm not sure, but I'll find out when I gain more experience with the total energy Vario. So there you could do that. What about a 3-position switch? Yep, we can do that. So you could, for instance, clear that out, toggle this 3-position switch. Now that type of switch is no good because it's on, off, on, so it's acting like a 2-position switch. Again, press proportional. This time, there we go. It's this type of screen you want with a 3-position switch. So it goes from -100, 0, +100. Say OK to that. And now we've got 3 positions. We can run 3 different things through here. We can go Vario, Tech Vario, Speed. If you're wondering how you get those, you just come down to the EX parameter and select whatever's coming up through the Vario. Okay, so I could run the glider with normal Vario if I feel the need to get the total energy compensated. I go to that one. And when I'm coming into land, I think, well, I don't need the Vario anymore, but I do want to get my on speed for the approach. There we go. And now your Vario will tell you whether the speed you've set here is, above or below. So I say I'm not going to go into the details of that. Go and see the video about using the Vario for airspeed. Okay. So there's some interesting things you could do, but you might say, well, okay, can we combine the throttle opening with shutting off the Vario? I'll have the Vario off in that position, total energy in that position, and speed in that position. Yes, we can. We'll use a logic switch instead of a physical switch. So let's go and have a look at that. Oh, by the way, I should have pointed out, the number here varies with your switch position, you see? So you can tell which Vario submenu or Vario menu you're in, which screen. Okay, let's go to the advanced properties, logical switches, and this is what you would do. You would set control 1 is P4. Well, that's my throttle stick. If you're using P2 or some other for your throttle, there you go. And you set it to this type of screen. And again, just have it switched on with the throttle back and switching off with the throttle coming forward. Okay. And then control 2 will be your 3-position switch, set as linear, and the condition will be AND. Now let's have a look at the outputs it produces. I'll move the switch to what I want to be the off position. With the throttle closed, it's still saying -100, and nothing I do with the throttle here will bring it off the off position. Yep, so that's position 1, or 1 position anyway. If I move it to the mid position with the throttle closed, it goes to 0%, so that will act as a mid position of a switch. But if I open the throttle, because it's gone off, it goes back to the off position. So there you go, mid position with the throttle back, off position if I open the throttle, which is what I want. And now I'll move this switch to position 3. With the throttle back, it gives me 100%. And with the throttle forward, again, it goes completely off. So in any position of the switch, if I open the throttle, it goes off. See? With the switch in middle, with the throttle back, it can recognize those positions, and I would switch it here to force it off, the same as if I opened the throttle. Okay. Now back to our Vario. And we'll set that, we'll clear that one out, logic switch 2. And now we can have all 3 screens varying. First of all, I'm going to open the throttle. You can see it's sticking at number 3, which is with the switch off anyway. I'll switch the switch, we come to screen 2, but if I open the throttle, it'll go back to screen 3. And now I'll move the switch to this position, but if I open the throttle, it'll go back to screen 3. So screen 3 is the one that's going to apply when we've opened the throttle, and we want the Vario to go silent, so let's silence it. Okay, let's pull the throttle back. Screen 1, with the switch back here, I want this to be my airspeed when I'm coming into land. So I'm going to pull the switch all the way back for landing, and therefore I will choose speed for that position. Move the switch to there. Vario, total energy, yep, I'll have that. Move the switch to there, forces it off, the same as opening the throttle. So there we go. I can put my switch in the mid position for launch. It'll give me the Vario. I'll turn the volume up to prove it. So we're getting the tone off the Vario. I'm ready to launch. I'll open the throttle and the Vario shuts up. Top of the climb, throttle back, Vario comes on again. Now I'm ready to land. I'll pull the switch to the landing mode and it goes into telling me whether or not I'm on my speed. Okay, so there's some ideas of the fun you can have using the switch parameter in the Vario. Bye for now, folks.